welcome. This is the first time we're actually going to be doing something like this. So last Thursday, which should be I don't know the exact date, probably like January 27th, 26th, somewhere around there. We played some activation matches for the NECC Overwatch, and this is the first time we're doing this. We are going to be going through the games and sort of giving sort of feedback on like what our thought processes were during the game, as well as we have some people in here that actually haven't viewed the games yet, and we can go and get some insight from them as well. So essentially, we're just going to be doing a game review for the three games that we played on that Thursday. Our game against Kansas Wesleyan University. So we'll be going through Lijiang Tower for our first map, Eichenwald for our second map, and Watchpoint Gibraltar for our third map. However, for this video, will probably be divided up into three parts. So for this first video, we'll just be going over Lijiang Tower, which hopefully won't take too long, but the other video should be out shortly after this one's put up. So make sure to tune in for that. Also, just a disclaimer for anyone that is being super hardcore about these sort of audio views. I just want to go and put in a disclaimer. None of us here are like hardcore official Overwatch coaches. A lot of this is just going to be like our thought processes behind what's happening on screen, not exactly like Overwatch coaching per se. So if that's something you're looking forward to, just a heads up, this is just going to be three Overwatch players and our esports director, Dr. John Harney, just reviewing the games and going over our sort of thought process going through the game. So yeah, we can go and run down the line of who's here. I'm Galvanijo, or Joseph. Then James, that's you.
Oh, sorry. I'm who's James? James Perry.
Agni Kai.
And I'm Ludensprof, or John Harney. I'm the director of the program. And we should point out, Joseph is a tank, James is a damage player, and Agnikai Makai is a support. So we're all here.
Yep, yep. And actually, let me go and get started into this game without further delay. So this was our first game of the entire sort of Thursday. We had 6 games to play in total. We're just going to be going over the Kansas Wesleyan games and sort of like what sort of thought process went into that, like those 3 games. So again, first video here is just going to be covering Lijiang Tower. So right off the bat, we wanted to run into this run with this sort of rush composition just because of how good it is on control. And yeah, I'll let you all take it from here. I'll chime in occasionally.
Sounds good.
Did you guys play Kansas Wesleyan in the fall split, or was that a different Wesleyan? So I
Uh,
don't really recognize any of these tags. I don't know if their team changed a lot.
I
yeah,
think they might have multiple teams, but I think we did play
Uh,
Kansas Wesleyan.
yeah, we played. I think we played Kansas Wesleyan twice during the spring season of last year. Also, I just
okay.
like to go and point out just one thing that happened in that initial engagement. So one thing, a bit of a call-out mistake on my part, like as the sort of impromptu shot caller for the team right now. The we lost that initial engagement mostly because of poor just not knowing that they were going to run like the high damage comp of the Sigma, May, and Sim. Also, Shatter almost went through there. Unfortunately, their Rhine got a bit melted. We should have rotated out towards main to let our Doomfist sort of pop off, but we sort of got funneled into that little server room and got melted. That's something we should look forward to, or look into later on.
As you guys, I'm gonna play a little bit of a devil's advocate role, as if I wasn't already, of course, an authority in Overwatch. But when you guys are coming into power here like this, like position by position, like roughly speaking, where do you want to be? So I mean, I know tanks should be up front and so on, and supports want to kind of be in kind of the middle to the back. But I mean, is there anything specific, or is it as simple as Joseph, you're going first as tank, James, you're looking for good pickoffs, and Mackay, you're trying to keep people alive? Like, what's the process? You know what I mean? What's your kind of
Yeah,
basic prep for this map?
I mean that's pretty much it. Our kind of thinking is stick together and we'll win, pretty much. Um,
Right.
once a person sees an opening, we kind of call that out, and we'll all charge into that opening.
Yep. We tend to be like a really good team when it comes to rush. So like our composition really tends to stick close together and fight as a solid unit. So when we're all stick close together, fighting, like going after one target at a time, focusing them down as hard as we can, trying to get them out of the way, then that's usually where we're shining.
Yeah, and it
Cool.
also the level of like coordination that we have in terms of like clumping up as a team and like moving as a single unit usually depends on the comp. Like I said before, we want to focus on running our rush composition. Also, just a bit of shot calling mistake on my part. I saw the sim TP. I thought they were going to TP behind us, so that's why we backed all the way up from point. But we were running rush composition, so the big thing that we focus on with that is just like staying together and like moving as a unit and just like trying to overwhelm the enemy team with just overall damage value. Good job. Which I think we did pretty well here. I think we were relying a lot on the more burst potential of the Doomfist. Because like what they're running is Mei and Sim, which has just enormous damage value and just ability to like shut down Reinhardts, which usually is what Rush comes down to, the whole Rein v Rein battle. Like whoever's Rein dies first usually loses that sort of matchup.
What I noticed about this map, I was just thinking a big difference with our program in general. Going back, Mackay and I were both there, like the first few weeks in 2019 when we founded the program, and I remember on this specific map exactly. A few minutes ago, you guys kind of backed up, like you were saying, Joseph. You kind of had them, choked just near their spawn point.
Yeah.
And that was happening to us so much early on, where we were just really a bunch of enthusiastic people who'd kind of fallen in together. And so that's just an immediate, for me, difference between where you guys are now and where you were before. This map seems to be, of course, it's got this big central area, right? It's obviously a control map and everything, but I just think that's interesting. Go back to Mackay's point about the stick together thing.
Yeah, and it's also like, so the way that this specific map works, I know we're about to back out of this map and go to the next sub map, but a lot of how this map works is like pushing up to like this little. Sorry, I'm gonna get away from the action because we're on some downtime. So like pushing up to this choke like near their spawn is actually like the sort of defensive play you want to do, especially if you're grouping up as a team. And sort of like holding that choke is big, especially with like Reinhardt swings and just the damage potential that you have in these rush compositions. So like that's a big thing with Control Center. Now I don't know. I wasn't there for the. Oh, hang on. Actually, I need to. Yeah. Sorry, that was just wanted to show that off for a second. But yeah, the big thing with like what usually happens on this map is like I don't know. I wasn't there for the first time you all played Control Center or Lijiang or Control Center. First of all, yay, roll cards for this first round win. Me and James are actually. I wouldn't say new to the team. We showed up second year of like the program, I believe. So, like I honestly kind of lost track.
I wouldn't say you're new. I wouldn't say you guys are new either. You guys have seen a lot of change as well. But I'm just being the kind of, like I said, I'm asking the questions as if I wasn't an eminent, authority on the game.
Right.
I want to ask you guys. Can we go position by position for a sec with the sub map? If that's
sure
all right. Joseph, you could go first, if you don't mind. So we're going with the tanks. It's Diva and Reinhardt here.
Yeah, big burst damage, but like overall damage with those two compositions. Like we want to start a big thing. Actually, let me just show you what we're doing here. So Gus is setting up TP. We're actually TPing up to this window, so then we can get the point first. They actually have the same idea, and the difference is that we both have Doomfist, right? But we also have Sim and Junk, so we're playing... hang on, let me get in here. So, first of all, I died. I don't know if you could see that. Hang on, let me actually go back. I kind of had a done goof on my part, so let me just scroll back a second. Just because... Well, because I've seen these VODs before. Like, I wanted to take some notes on it, like what I could do better. Just remember, as Reinhardt, you have a shield.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah, you're kind of back behind the team.
Yeah, I thought I was safe, but the junk spam just came in way too fast, and we just weren't able. I just wasn't able to react in time. Like I knew it was coming, I just didn't know I'd be hit so fast with it.
I'm not sure what level our Kansas Wesleyan are here, this particular Kansas Wesleyan team, but like we're effectively, so we're a collegiate team that's more or less playing at a kind of a plat level, I think, right? So I mean,
Yes.
to what extent is the? I was going to ask you guys. I was going to ask Mackay about Moira seems like Moira's like you always pick Moira, you always pick Reinhardt. Lucio's a popular pick. I mean, to what extent is this meta following kind of the broader game meta anyway? Is there anything specific to the kind of the level we're currently playing at, or is it more or less kind of on track with the broader meta? Do you think across the game?
So that's the big thing. Like the NECC is divided up into like multiple different divisions. Like the division we're playing at is like sort of like the mid range. I'd say so it's like the challengers division, right? So like what were originally in for the spring season in 2021, and like for the first half of the fall 2021 was the emergence. I'd say the biggest difference between those two isn't really skill necessarily. It's more of the team compositions we're running for. Because like in emergence, it's like that shower was my fault, by the way. I forgot to block that. I was not paying attention. But the biggest difference is that emergence is more about playing comfort picks and like playing still at like a plat level, whereas challengers is more like playing the comps that great like GM and top 500 like normal like contenders teams sort of run. So like both compositions that we're running right now, although they have like specific things that we're more comfortable at playing, like Kevin on Doomfist and Eli on Moira, are more or less what everyone else sees, or what everyone else plays. Sorry, I got distracted by Jonathan's big grab eat right there. That pretty much saved us this entire fight.
Well, James, you're the damage player. If I can ask you, like, I mean, so Hanzo and Doomfist, then, I mean, it kind of fits our, like Kevin and Gus, I suppose. But I mean, to what extent are those go-to picks for this particular map, or is it more? What do you think?
Really, you can run any sort of damage you want. In the lower ranks, and by lower I mean like behind Grandmaster and Masters. You can run pretty much anything. But the pro level play, there's really only two picks you want, and that's normally Mei Sim. Because they're just super strong in this map. But I don't think it varies too much, or it should really matter too much at our skill rating. So I think Doomfist is entirely viable, and Jonk and Hanzo. And yeah, Gus switches to Tracer here. I think all these picks are totally viable.
And then Makai was going to ask you about the supports, because I feel like Moira, we're now on our second support in a row, because we had Grant Lyon, who's now graduated. He always played Moira. And Lucio seems like an easy pick. Like, you yourself, you tend to play Brig, right? I mean, what do you think about what does Lucio, for example, give us on these maps as a support versus a different choice?
Lucio on these maps is generally really good. There's a lot of open spaces that Lucio gets a lot of value with, especially with his ability to control space with his weapon, his boots ability. He can generally, if you're paying attention, you can get a lot of environmental kills, especially on the bridge, especially on this map right now. The bridge that on the right side that teams might try to run up to get to the point. You tend to see a lot of Lucios try to get a boop environmental kill on those at the very start of the match, try and disrupt the enemy. During like on a lot of these in these last two maps, this map and the one right before Lucio, you generally see a lot of play with him. And Mora also is very good with her damage orb, like get that in close space that the control point is in. You can throw your damage orb out there; it'll stay around for a while, rack up a lot of damage. Brig is also can be good just because of how well she tends to work in close quarter spaces.
Also, James, real quick, I know you're probably going to appreciate this since you know who he is. So, I just want to... So, James, you're familiar with Flats, the Reinhardt streamer, correct?
Yeah.
So, a big thing, like, he's probably... Like, Reinhardt, like, it's... The whole thing is, like, just unbind shift because you're going to be charging, like, all the time.
Right.
But, like, I don't know if you're familiar with this. There's a specific philosophy to charging that Flats has sort of been, like, making a big part of, and like like with pin, you want to be like aiming towards someone to like charge them.
With this.
But like how you're actually supposed to play it, or how Flats argues that you should play it, is like charging into like potentially clustered areas and then causing disruption like that. So that's sort of what I sort of apply here. If you just watch this, so like I see that I may have actually missed this. Yeah, hang on. I went back a little too early. Hang on one sec. Well, that's a little too far back.
Actually, hey
One.
Joseph, real quick,
Yeah.
you could what I do in these situations, if you have a pen and paper, you could make a note of when to come back and edit something a bit
Yeah.
tighter.
The funny thing is that I actually have that on my screen left side. I just haven't been using it as much. Yeah, that would probably be more professional on my part. I apologize for that.
Oh, it just makes your life easier. Don't worry. If it stays in, it stays in.
Oh no,
I wanted
trust
to-
me,
Well, yeah.
it does, it does. But yeah, right here, like I see that they're all on point. They're about to be walking in. They're all grouped up, pin, and then the Reaper walks in.
You know,
And
I thought you were going in the direction of charge someone off.
Oh no.
Pick a high value target and charge.
Yeah, I mean
But
is
that's also viable.
yeah, like it is like charging people, like especially tanks, like charging tanks that won't survive like Winston or Diva like off the map, or like that don't have a jump ability. So like
Right.
charging a Rhine off the map is always like good, especially if they're nanoed or have like some sort of buff to them. Is always good to like sway a team fight. But yeah, you can get big value off that. I usually do it for BM, of course, but it's viable if you know what's up.
But we're a collegiate team, so we don't do VM. So
True,
right.
yes.
we have a code of conduct. Hey, Joseph, I was going to ask you. So at this point, you're actually in this game. You're playing tank and everything.
Yep.
Like, what does team chat sound like around about now? Like, what is the team? What are you guys hoping to do? You've got a bit of an edge in this particular map. You know what I mean? Like, trying to give people who are watching a sense of like, what's the vibe of the team? Is it just as simple as stay together and keep them out of this room? Like, what's the chat like?
So yeah, so what it's actually like we were running a Brawl v Brawl before. The big thing I want to know, first of all, Kevin's popping off here. Pretty much wins that fight. So this actually isn't Rush v Rush. We're playing Rush right now, and they're running a sort of they're running a composition that's called Neo Goats or 6-man dive, zombies comp, whatever you want to call it, where they're playing like dive characters with with Winston, Diva, and Reaper, like in a sort of rush sort of setting with the Lucio speed boost and then the Moira heals. So essentially the comms are mostly just like playing around corners because our winning condition, or just like how we're playing this comp in general, is we want to hug these corners tight like what I'm doing here and make sure that they can't get in because we're going to outdamage them because of well, watch what happens to this Winston. Like, he moves too far forward, and our damage just melts them too fast. Now, right here, like, you see this tire, and I actually missed the fire strike, which kind of costs us this this engagement here. But, like, if you notice, like, we were backing up there in order to give ourselves more space to, like, draw the tire out. So I don't remember a lot from what was happening, like, comm-wise in this fight, but that was a big thing, like, holding corners and like knowing how long we should stay and like who to focus, like who's overextending, like what happened with the Winston in that one engagement. But yeah, essentially that, and also like we knew that I was keep trying to make sure I kept track of the tire, so like I knew it was coming. I just kind of whiffed on my fire strike to take it out, and then I got killed, and then Jonathan got demeched because of it, and we were essentially just down 2 people there. And then they were able to get their people faster back on point than we were able to. So like we got it to 99 now, so we really only need one fight, or like a one fight win, sort of take this point from them. But yeah, so like right now we're just rotating along the left side because that's usually the safest, especially when you're playing against a Lucio, just because like how much boot potential there is here. And I don't know if you could hear, I kind of turned the camera away, but we just engaged with Beat, so big idea behind that is like we have extra health, we can like get hyper aggressive knowing that we have that healing amplification on us. And yeah, essentially we just pop our ults and win. Just press Q to win.
So right there we use 4 ults, right?
Yes. I think
Did
we
you guys
actually.
communicate that, or was that just spur of the moment?
If
Everyone
I'm
sees their own opportunity.
If I'm honest, I think I definitely called that we should engage with Beat, but after that it was mostly just like
Okay,
use whatever you feel necessary.
gotcha.
I think for me watching this, and this is new information for me. Like like even the way Joseph you're just talking about, watching the corners and kind of having a sense of what is going to go well, what isn't going to go well, and even just now of like we know we're going to call this first ult, and the team. There's a sense that people have been saving their ults, and then people know when to pop them and everything. This is just like light years beyond where the team was early on, which is understandable because we had met each other weeks earlier at the start. You know what I mean? It was something to work on.
Hmm.
So it just makes me really happy because our Overwatch team is kind of our central team of the program, or our first team anyway, and it's pretty cool. I mean, again, Makai, you've kind of been around a while like me. I mean, I'm assuming you've noticed an evolution in the way the team kind of goes into these things.
Oh, definitely. Like just even like the ability where we can all individually kind of sense where the fight is leading and make independent decisions, even if like Joseph isn't directly calling out what each of us needs to be doing at any given moment. Like we are all have enough like game sense at this point now that we can independently all act toward the betterment of the team in the moment, and it tends to work out. Like if we're like really in sync and we're planning it well, like that's such a big difference. Like especially with like tracking ults and using ults, because before it used to be anyone that got their ult would kind of just throw it out mid-team fight and hope for the best.
Yes, I remember that well. I'm loving Joseph's slow here. This is beautiful. This quarter speed.
Yeah, I
Some
figured.
classical music.
Yeah, I figured might as well go and get some action. And since we are actually done with Lijiang here, we can go and start moving on to the next map. But yeah, I'd say like given the percentages, this was an extremely close match. Like it essentially kept going back and forth. And there were really like no one-sided maps. Like yeah, like Night Market may have been a bit rough for us, but like after that, I feel like just the coordination that we had on our side. Like not saying that they didn't have any coordination. It's just like the way that we were sort of playing just sort of gave us like just that ever so slight advantage. Like especially on those two maps. And then just like knowing how to play like this map specifically, and then also on Gardens against their Neo Goats comp. I think it just I think we just proved to, just clutch it out.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick before we go, Joseph, because you
Yes.
played in the game, but any of you guys can answer this. I mean, it depends. I feel like in the regular season, scouting is a little bit easier, but activation it can be a little bit tricky. So psychologically, how important is this first map? Like so you've got to be feeling good, right? I mean, like am I overstating the potential importance of that, or like I'd love to hear about that because you're six people who just this is a good start, right? I mean, how big a difference does that really make, or does it really matter?
I think it's super important.
Yeah.
Even though how I feel generally is if we lose that first map, that first King of the Hill map, I normally just shrug it off because I know as being on the team, King of the Hill maps aren't normally our specialty. We normally lose them, but after winning them, it definitely boosts my morale and makes me feel way more confident going into the second match, the second game.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing I've noticed. Like, control maps are always like they start off pretty slow, but like they sort of like hype you up to get ready for the next two maps. In this case, at least, since this is best of three play all. But yeah, just like the trend I sort of noticed is that if we like both teams like usually start off slow on control maps for the first engagement, and then everything just feels so close that to the point where like it can go either way. And what we'll see in this map, or like as we've clearly seen from this map, is like this could have gone either way. Like I'm pretty sure this map in particular, we got 100%, and Kansas Wesleyan got 90%. Then like on the next one, it was a bit more favored towards Kansas Wesleyan. I think like 100 to 30%. And then on Gardens, I want to say it was kind of the opposite of Night Market. But either way, this was an extremely close match, especially this control center that we're watching here. Like again, anything like this initial sub map especially, I feel like could have gone either way. And really any team could have taken this. But the big thing about these initial maps is how much energy that it sort of drains off of collegiate teams especially. Which we will actually, no spoilers, but we will see that sort of come into play for this next map.
Oh boy.
Yep. But yeah, I'll go and wrap it up here. So yeah, this was our review of Lijiang Tower, and next up we've got Eichenwald. So we will see you all then.